You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello there, and welcome back to the official Deaf Crocodile Podcast. We are announcing the largest overall slate for a Deaf Crocodile month of releases ever. And here tonight, I'm Ryan Verrill, and we've got Craig Rogers and Dennis Bartok, who are running the company. Gentlemen, thank you.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy. Long time no see.
Yeah,
it has been a while since we talked with you.
It's been a bit, and we've got a lot to cover tonight. We have literally the most hyped Deaf Crocodile release ever. We've been hinting at this release and revealing images and trailers and postcards and titles all year, and now we finally get to talk about two of the releases I'm most excited about for the rest of this year. We've got a double feature and a 4-disc triple feature box set. Jesus, there's so much to cover tonight. Dennis, tell us about our first release.
We didn't plan it this way. It somehow evolved to being a multi-disc. So it's Silent October.
Yes.
And again, I'd like to say that we planned it this way, but it's just the stars sometimes align. Both of the releases we're doing, the first are actually the two earliest films that we have put out to date with Deaf Crocodile, both from the wonderful, pioneering German director and writer Henrik Galeen, Alraune and the Student of Prague, that we're releasing in collaboration with our good friends at the Film Museum München in Munich. And then another silent release, but these are brand new films from the Austrian experimental filmmaker Norbert Pfaffenbichler. It's his incredible post-apocalyptic mutant monster silent trilogy 2551 that he has made over the past 4 years, I believe. Incredible achievement, shot in abandoned underground World War II era bunkers in and around Vienna. And they're sort of like the unholy marriage of David Lynch, Joel Peter Witkin, Metallica, Bauhaus, Silent Hill, Hellboy 2, Eraserhead, Begotten. I mean, there's so many incredible sort of
you forgot Charlie Chaplin.
And Charlie Chaplin. The first film, The Kid, is his version of Chaplin's The Kid. They are astonishingly surreal. I sort of describe them as Mad Max run amok in the Mütter Museum. If anybody has been to the Mütter Museum, you know what I'm talking about. They are very often very NC-17. Some of the darkest and most extreme imagery that are, have been in any films that we've put out, and they are truly remarkable. Incredible music, an incredible achievement. I mean, honestly, they were recommended to us, the 2551 trilogy, by Danish filmmaker Reinert Kiel, Kiil. And he knows, he's friends with the filmmaker, Norbert Pfaffenbichler. He said, hey, he's about to screen the third one he just finished, called The End. He's got us screener links and put us in touch with Norbert. And Craig watched, what was it, like the first 5 minutes of The Kid, the first film in the trilogy?
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure I was 5 minutes in before I paused it and emailed you, and you're like, we need to send him a contract.
Yeah, no, we have to. And as it turns out, we licensed the films, and then we kind of teased it, and another label was like, oh crap, we were going after those movies. And they're really mind-blowing. They are avant-garde silent feature films, but really for genre, for sci-fi, monster, horror fans. And it's a really hard trick to pull off. And they're really engaging, engrossing. Essentially, the trilogy follows this epic journey between the ape man. And all of the characters I should mention in these films wear rubber monster masks of all sorts of incredibly grotesque, mutated forms. And it's never clear whether those are intended to be masks or if they're supposed to be like their actual faces. But everyone is masked in this underground, subterranean, nightmarish world that he has created. And essentially follows the ape man and a kid also masked. He wears a burlap sack with 2 crude eye holes, and he clutches this deformed, hideous little mummy doll that is his equivalent of, like, I don't know, like a Barbie and Ken doll or Lilo and Stitch or something throughout the trilogy. As they get together, he loses the kid. The kid grows up, gets indoctrinated in this horrible police state. It is very much about fascist ideology and repressive political systems. So it has a lot of connections to what's happening in the world today and the United States today. And we just love the movies. So it's Silent October.
We probably see more movies than the average person because we're big fans and so work in the industry. I've never seen anything like these. Dennis, you've seen way more than even I have. Is there any equivalent? Like,
I would say the combination of shooting them using silent film techniques. So there's occasionally sped up footage. There's they kind of uses some of the language of silent cinema with experimental and avant-garde kind of imagery and styles, as well as there's also they're for death metal fans.
Yeah.
They're for,
so that's a no.
Fans of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, but and everybody it's the weird second one where, all the irradiated people are living underneath the surface and take their masks off and they're really freaky. I mean, there's Ray Harryhausen stop motion animation in it. I mean, there's so much incredible stuff.
I think a lot of people will watch these, and unless they're, steeped in cinema history, aren't going to realize that, like, the colors are like color tints from silent films, or, all the other influences throughout cinema history that are all in there, but it's become its own crazy animal that'll be appreciated on a completely different level than any of that stuff that he's pulled from.
And Norbert is a huge fan and admirer of film history, so some of the bonus features we were really lucky to be able to license and include some of his avant-garde short films, which is kind of before he did these, what he was best known for. And they kind of comment on and engage with film history in really fascinating and kind of challenging ways. One of them, he reinterprets Eisenstein's famous Odessa Steps sequence from Battleship Potemkin. Another, he looks at a famous sequence from an early Chaplin short where he's on a movable sort of floor belt, and in another he reinterprets and plays with and distorts imagery and audio of actors who have portrayed Adolf Hitler. over the years, from Alec Guinness to Bruno Ganz to all sorts of different actors. And that is also kind of an experimental piece about the imagery of fascism. So you will see throughout the 2551 trilogy his love for film history evident in almost like every sequence in the movie, and yet it's also completely original. How they managed to shoot this, I have, even having interviewed Norbert and behind the scenes, I don't know how they did it, because these underground World War II bunkers, and there were also, I think, alcohol storage caverns, huge caverns. There's no power, there's no toilets, there's no running water. They had to bring generators down, and apparently the fumes were poisoning the casting crew because there's no ventilation. It's astonishing, and they made these all for an absolutely minuscule budget raised from a lot of public arts funding groups in Austria. So it's a monumental achievement, and they are feature length, all three of them. And the fact that they've sort of gone under the radar, this is going to be the first physical media release for the trilogy anywhere in the world.
The fact that the third film just came out and was just hitting the festival circuit.
It played in Rotterdam. It did in February, and we're putting it out in October. So that's pretty quick in terms of
I'm really surprised that they don't already have a big following. Like, most people have not even ever heard of it. So I really hope with this release, it has a massive crossover appeal. The horror film groups are going to love it. The people who love, silent cinema are going to be fascinated. It's taking all of the techniques of silent cinema, but applying it to a completely different genre of filmmaking and films. I don't know. I'm very excited. I can't wait for people to experience these films, because they're really not like anything you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no, it's just one of those things where you discover someone's incredibly detailed and fleshed out vision for this subterranean world of repression and brutality. It also does, especially part 2, The Orgy of the Damned, does what we're going to warn people up front. There's some real hardcore.
This is not for kids to watch.
No, there's some really hardcore simulated sexual imagery, simulated violence, really freaky. If anyone knows the photographs, the artwork of Joel Peter Witkin, that's another, I think, reference point for Norbert's work. But we're just super excited. Also, a shout out to Gerald Weber at Six Pack Film, who's his sales agent, distributor, and supports the work of a lot of incredible avant-garde filmmakers. And in fact, as you'll see, one of the bonus features on the Blu-ray, oh my God, we have an entire disc, and we actually almost ran out of space, with visual essays, one by someone who's on this call, Ryan Verrill, and his partner in crime, Dr. Will Dodson of Someone's Favorite Productions. Danish filmmaker Reinert Kiel did an interview and visual essay with Norbert, and then experimental filmmaker and film scholar Stephen Brumer. And I think it's Stevens in particular that talks about the tradition of Austrian underground filmmaking in the 60s and early 70s, which was really extreme. There's some short clips from some of these films, and again, very NC-17.
Yeah, the bonus features aren't for kids either.
Yeah, but it's not for kids. Despite the fact that the film is called The Kid and has one of the main characters is a kid, not for kids. But there is this lineage, this tradition that Norbert comes out of really dark, surreal, and graphic experimental filmmaking in Austria that I wasn't aware of. And that's another amazing, all of the connective threads that you discover when you're working on these projects. So we're very excited.
Yeah, this is... Sorry, putting a cat down.
No.
Setting her down on the floor.
Setting the cat down.
Pardon me, I'm currently putting a cat down.
Okay. I could hear a heart attack from all the listeners on the podcast. Oh my God, Cat Dad is putting his cat down on the podcast.
So I listen to or watch Ryan's show every Thursday night, which everyone listening to this hopefully tunes into that live show every Thursday night. And there's something he says once in a while that I've always hoped one of our releases would get this. I don't know if it's an honor, but I love it when you're like, there are so many bonus features you couldn't put it in one Instagram post.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this will be one of those.
I've already scheduled the post, and I can tell you it absolutely is.
Yes. Dennis, we've made it.
Yay!
Well, and one thing that is new about this for Deaf Crocodile as well, Dennis was talking about the NC-17 aspect. Craig, you had to update the website to be able to sell this, right?
Yeah, I had to download an app that age verifies for you to put it in your cart. Because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, we don't want to get sued.
That wouldn't be good. But yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone under 18 that even knows who Deaf Crocodile is, so it's not likely.
My kids do.
Yeah, but they're not the ones buying the discs. So.
It's true.
And you get promo copies anyhow, so if they want to watch it, they sneak them. To do what kids have done throughout the ages, wait until their parents are asleep, and then sneak the good R-rated stuff and watch it till the wee small hours.
Set your cable box to the Cinemax channel at night and watch the scrambled image so you can hopefully see a titty or something. Like,
you know what's hilarious? We printed an article about exactly that in the last issue of the Physical Media Advocate.
Oh, wow.
Did any teenage boy not do that in the 80s?
No, everybody has.
So yeah, I'll just run down the list here. Dennis already mentioned the visual essays that Stephen Broomer did, looking at the Vietnamese underground and how it influenced 2551. And then Euron Wills.
Did you say Vietnamese or Viennese?
Viennese.
Viennese. We could be looking at the Vietnamese.
I hope I said Viennese. I meant Viennese.
I believe you said Vietnamese, but that's okay.
Geez. I'm even reading it. Viennese. Right there on my screen. You'll fix that in the edit, right?
Maybe. It's funnier the way it is.
All new interviews. So we've got a new interview with the director, Norbert Pfaffenbichler. A new interview with the cinematographer. New interview with the VFX supervisor, Paul Leckman. A new interview with the actor who played the Ape-Man, Stefan Erber. There's a second interview with the director. This one was conducted by his friend Reinhard Kill, and they mostly discussed his experimental short films. The 2551.03, the third in the trilogy, the end, they actually have a 21-minute behind the scenes featurette that they produced for that. So we've got that. The VFX supervisor, Paul Leckman, sent us about a 12-minute compilation of VFX behind the scenes, how they were doing them, different stages of them. And it was this really cool, just bunch of footage. And so we were really down to the wire on deadline, but I emailed them and I'm like, could you just do like a voiceover? Just talk over and explain what it is that we're seeing and all that footage. And yeah, like almost immediately he sent back, not only does he narrate and explain everything, he's edited it in an order that makes sense. And so now we've got this great almost 13-minute VFX reel with the VFX supervisor explaining what they did and how they did all the stuff in the film. Very cool. We even have deleted scenes. There's 2 deleted scenes from part 3, the end. And then something we've wanted to do, but it's rarely available. We have the soundtrack score from all 3 films.
Yeah.
Will be on that 4th disc as isolated tracks. Part 1 has 17 tracks, part 2 has 30 tracks, and part 3 has 10 tracks. So you've got the soundtrack for the entire film. All 3 entire films. And then, as Dennis also mentioned, the short films by director. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 short films that he did, ranging from 1998 to 2019. And then, less exciting, but it's on there, we had 3 different trailers cut for the film, and we've included all 3 of the new trailers. So yeah, there's a lot.
Well, I should
stuff.
also mention we have incredible audio commentaries.
Yes, I forgot, because those are on the discs 1, 2, and 3 with the films. So yeah,
right,
go
by
ahead.
writer and film scholar Sheila Rowan Legg, and film archivist Ava Letourneau, and artist, curator, and writer Ann Golden. And then podcaster Mike White of the Projection Booth also does a commentary, really wonderful commentary. And then if you get the special deluxe limited edition, it has essays by film critic and author Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, who a number of people will recognize for her wonderful writing on film. Walter Chaw, who contributes to all of our releases. Film historian Rolf Giesen, who also has contributed to a number of our recent releases, such as the DIFA Sci-Fi set and others. And in fact, his essay takes the form of an interview with Norbert Pfaffenbichler, the director of the trilogy. And when I told Norbert, I said, we have this wonderful film scholar, Rolf Giesen, and he wrote back. I could barely contain his excitement. He goes, oh my God, Rolf Giesen, I have all his books on film history. I worship him. He's amazing. So Norbert was like beside himself with excitement that he was going to be interviewed by Rolf. So we're really excited to have these wonderful essays on the films.
We also didn't mention that the limited edition cover art is by the absolutely incredible J.G. Jones. If you've enjoyed comic books in the last 30 years, you know who he is. I've just been a huge fan of his for so long, and it's just yet again where I'm definitely learning that you might as well ask, because sometimes they'll say they can't, or they'll quote you a price you can't afford, but sometimes they're just like, yeah, I can do that. And so when J.G. Jones said he would do a cover painting for us for this release, I was just beside myself. So yeah, there's a whole new J.G. Jones painting that is the wraparound cover art for the limited edition. Also, somewhat exciting is we're going to have the original painting available for sale on the website. So yeah, if you're a fan of the film and you're a fan of JG, there's going to be an actual painting available on the website from JG. He'll ship it to you directly himself.
Wow. I should mention that even though it was made in 1928, many years before the 2551 trilogy, Alraune is equally, in its way, perverse and disturbing. It is the story of essentially a test tube baby. This scientist played by Paul Wegener, who was most famous for playing the Golem in 1915 and then again in the 1920 version, which were written by Henrik Galeen, and Wegener directed the 1920 version, which is the only one, the one that most people know is the complete version of the Golem that survives. And Galeen also wrote very famously Nosferatu and Waxworks, amazing anthology horror film from 24. But in Alraune, Paul Wegener, even saying this, he takes the semen of a hanged man and implants it in the womb of a prostitute. And she gives birth to a kind of a succubus that is played by Brigitte Helm, most famous from Fritz Lang's Metropolis. And Brigitte Helm drives all the men in the film to madness and suicide and murder, and the title Alraune in German translates as mandrake root, which supposedly I think would grow up when semen from a hanged man would fall to the earth, and the mandrake root has slightly, like, some mandrake roots look almost human, like anthropomorphic human-like features. And so the German title Alraune sort of references this, I guess, folklore from Germany, which is really perverted as well. Everything about it's perverse, I'll be honest. And it was, they based on a story by Hans Heinz Evers, who was a very popular and successful writer in Germany in the kind of pre-World War I and post-World War I into the Weimar era. Is kind of forgotten now, but was tremendously successful in his day. And Evers was a really strange ranger. Our essays talk about how kind of bizarre and twisted Evers was. And you could really see that, like, first and foremost in Alraune. The Student of Prague is equally weird and surreal in its way. It stars Conrad Veidt, who is most famous as the somnambulist in The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. A huge star in the silent era. He's in Waxworks, which Galeen also wrote. He's in The Man Who Laughed, one of the iconic actors of the silent era. But then his career continued well into the sound era, and he's best known today as the Nazi captain in Casablanca. Much later, but he gives an amazing performance in The Student of Prague as a kind of hell-raising student who literally sells his soul to the devil, and then his doppelganger literally walks out of a mirror like an image from Cocteau and takes over his life and starts doing really awful things.
The in-camera special effects in that film
so
are,
great.
again, you're like, you see it and you're like, if they could figure out how to do that in the 1920s, why are we CGIing everything today? Yep. It's just crazy. Watching him walk out of the mirror is very cool. He walks through an iron fence in another scene. Like, it's, he disappears. Like, it's just all in camera in the 1920s visual effects that work perfectly.
Well, and I think one of the really great things about this release is that it shines a light on the work of Henrik Galeen, who was from a Jewish family, pioneering, Jewish German filmmaker. These are probably his two best movies as a director. And hopefully it will also kind of shine a light on his importance as a writer. He, as I said, directed the 1915 version of The Golem, which is mostly, but not completely lost. And these movies are really wonderful. And unfortunately, his career didn't continue much into the sound era. And like many other Jewish filmmakers, he was forced to flee with the rise of the Nazi Party. He came to the United States. He had actually, I think, looked into at one point he was trying to pitch a sound version of The Golem, and that never came to pass. And he wound up passing away in the United States. And we have a fascinating essay by film historian and Eisner Award-winning comics artist Stephen Bissett, who's contributed to many of our releases, trying to track down Henrik Galeen's burial place, his tomb.
Yeah, like how did he end up buried in a cemetery in Vermont?
Right. It's fascinating. Like what happened.
Stephen takes a deep dive into that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of amazing stuff on this release. I mean, again, our hats off, our huge thanks to Stefan Dressler and the Film Museum in München for preserving these incredibly rare films so beautifully. Stefan contributes a wonderful essay to the booklet. We have translations of several archival essays from the teens and 20s, one written by Henrik Galeen, one written by Hans-Heinz Evers, and then some articles about the making of the films that came out at the time, which is great because you're hearing sort of documentary reportage. And then we have several new essays, including the one by Stephen Bissett, sort of searching for Galeen's resting place, as well as from Walter Chaw, contributes to a lot of our releases. In fact, all of them. And we have a wonderful, very wide-ranging interview that I did with Stefan Dressler, head of the Film Museum in München, where we were supposed to talk just about Alraune and Student of Prague, but often like these conversations, we wound up talking about a gazillion other things, including pre-war stereoscopic 3D filmmaking in Germany and Europe, his preservation and restoration of a lot of rare and unfinished Orson Welles projects, which are housed at the Film Museum München. And then eventually, about, 40 minutes into it, we're like, okay, now we're going to talk about Alraune. And then there's also a rare clip, courtesy of the Film Museum in Dusseldorf, from Auf gefährlichen Spuren, aka Dangerous Paths, which is a 1924 crime film, where we get to see Henrik Galeen as an actor alongside one of his frequent collaborators, a director named Harry Peel, who is also an actor. And Galeen wrote Dangerous Paths. So that's like a 15-minute clip from this other surviving German silent film. So we are super excited. We've actually been talking with Stefan Dressler for a while about working with him in the Film Museum in München. This is going to be the first of what will hopefully be an ongoing series of releases, at least one, if not two a year, of incredibly rare treasures from their archives. And we are super excited. We do have another one planned, which will be really mind-blowing and landmark for, I think, probably October of next year. So we're already planning a year ahead, but we will have more wonderful silent genre cinema from the vaults of the Film Museum München. And if I could tell you some of the other stuff that he has in the archive, your jaw would hit the floor.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Makes my teeth hurt. Some of these films are so weird and wonderful and amazing and surreal. So we're really excited that we're finally sort of dipping our toes into silent cinema that like a lot of our releases kind of is the intersection of art house and genre. And we have, in fact, two silent releases scheduled for 2026 already. So we're this is sort of the start of something, but that is going to hopefully blossom and continue.
And hopefully, Dave McKean, we haven't mentioned it yet, but the limited edition of Alraune and Student of Prague artwork is again by Dave McKean and is incredible. And he is a huge silent cinema fan and has a whole series of paintings that he's done covering all sorts of different silent cinema films. So I asked him, if we release more silent films, would you be interested in doing the covers to those? And he's like, if you release a silent film, I will do the cover.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully, well, I know for at least the next release, he's already working on those. So we've got more Dave McKean goodness coming down the road, even beyond this Alraune and Student of Prague release.
I should mention for Alraune and Student of Prague, because I went over some of or in fact most of the amazing bonus features, but one of the most amazing is we have audio commentaries for both films by the very acclaimed film historian Jan Christopher Horak, who's the former director of the UCLA Film and Television Archive, was the former director of the Film Museum München, preserved and restored these two treasures, worked with was the head of the George Eastman Museum, and has been one of the kind of best known and revered figures in the archival film world for decades, and delivered incredibly fascinating commentaries about both movies based on his amazing depth of knowledge and wealth of research into German silent cinema. So I really encourage people to listen to the commentaries for Alraune and Student of Prague when they have time.
There's a lot of fascinating information in there.
We're super excited. It seems like we've been working on these releases for a long time, and we have. And the fact that they're like about it, well, when people hear this, it will finally go on pre-sale. They're both quite limited. Alraune and Student of Prague even more limited.
Yeah, that one's probably going to go pretty quick because
for the deluxe edition with the Dave McKean artwork. So if anybody's listening to this, if you haven't bought Alraune and Student of Prague and 2551, I would recommend getting them both because they're going to go quickly.
Yeah, this is a big month. I mean, even just listing the number of contributors is overwhelming. I mean, the amount of people that work together to get these two releases done, this is an astounding achievement.
Yeah, I got to say that everyone involved in 2551 was so generous with everything. Like when I reached out and I said, "Hey, do you think we could put the score on there?" Like all the composers that worked on it, they're like sent me WAV files. They're like, "Yeah, here. Do you need anything else?" Like, the VFX guy, when I was like, "Hey, do you think you could put a narration on this?" Like he didn't just throw a narration over the top. He was like, he sent back a featurette. Like, It's like everybody's just been incredible.
Yeah. I should also mention for anyone listening to this who purchases our releases through Amazon that we have a number of reprints, releases that are up on Amazon. Our 4 Alexander Petrushko titles are all available individually. That's Ilya Muramet's Sampo, The Tale of Tsar Sultan, and Ruslan and Ludmilla are available through Amazon, as well as the Alexander Petrushko Fantastica box with new artwork is also available through Amazon. You can purchase these through us directly. We encourage everyone to do that, but people like shopping through Amazon. They can get them there. So, and we also have some other, what are the next reprints?
Yeah, we got a bunch
upcoming.
Some stuff that's been out of stock. Heroic Times will be coming back fairly soon. That's another of the OCN era releases that's been out of print. Amazing, fully painted, animated tale of knights, medieval knights is just incredible.
Oh yeah, that's people have really.
It's been out of print for a little while, so we've got a new slipcover, as we usually do with these reprints. We'll have a very limited run of 300 slipcovers, and then the releases. It's not limited beyond the slipcover. Again, in the new cases that we release all our films in. What else do we have coming?
Well, and we're selling out very quickly on the limited O-card slipcovers for the reprints of Bubble Bath.
Yeah, those have been going
Assassin of the Tsar and Visitors from the Arcana.
Yeah, Visitors of Arcana Galaxy and Bubble Bath in particular. Those
are. So we had new
slipcovers are going pretty quick.
Slipcovers done for the reprints of those, and they're selling out pretty quickly. So if you don't have those, or you just want to get the new slipcovers, which are really groovy, they're available through our store. Oh my gosh, we got so much amazing.
The DIFA Sci-Fi two film set standard edition of that was sold out, so those are coming back in stock. And Steve Thomas, who did
brand new artwork.
Yeah, so Steve Thomas, it did. If you remember, the limited edition had multiple covers. He actually did another one for us when we did that we didn't use. We're like, well, we need to reprint it. why don't we make it an O-card? So that Diva Sci-Fi set's going to be coming back in print, and there'll be a limited run with a new cover by Steve Thomas for that one.
Well, and we've mentioned it before, but right after these October releases in November, we have a 3-film set dedicated to the work of the amazing pioneering Finnish director Tuvo Tullio, with Cross of Love, Restless Blood, and his last film, Sensuela. He was one of the great masters of kind of intense, surreal melodrama, up there with R.W. Fassbinder and Douglas Sirk. His last film in particular is like an unbelievable fusion of like John Waters and Russ Meyer and Anna Biller. Sensuela is utterly mind-melting.
Yeah, when I watched the first thing, I thought immediately was like, John Waters probably wishes he had directed this. Like it's
Finland in
it's
the
so
early
John Waters
70s. I know, it's just astonishing. Then December will be the 3rd volume of our Treasures of Soviet Animation, devoted to the legendary Russian animator and filmmaker Yuri Norstein. It will feature 9 of his short films that he made, produced by Soyuz Mult Film. It will include several shorts that are, I think, new to physical media, certainly new to Blu-ray. This is the first ever Blu-ray release of Norstein's work in the United States. And all 9 of the films will be newly restored by Craig, by Deaf Crocodile for this release. So you're going to see brand new restorations from the best available film elements from Soyuz Mult Film.
Yeah, we're rounding out the year hard.
Yeah,
So a two film silent set, a 4-disc trilogy, another 3-film set, and then the Yuri Norstein is in December. So
that's monumental.
So what you're saying, your subscribers are eating very well this fall.
They're going to be very, very happy.
Very happy. We got a lot coming out. If you thought the second half of 2025 was busy, wait till people get a earful of the first half of 2026 and the second half of 2026. Oh my God, we've got huge landmark restorations that we're working on. We've got all sorts of rarities, lost films, January, like films that are totally lost.
March. Yeah, I didn't even really realize it till I was just looking at it. But January, February, March, three months in a row, we've got 4K releases.
Yep.
So
we got
like
a bunch of 4K UHD,
lots and lots of good stuff coming.
We have a brand new film, another incredible film by one of our favorite Deaf Crocodile filmmakers, Shahram Mokri, the great Iranian director of Fishing Cat and Careless Crime. His new movie, Black Rabbit, White Rabbit, is just now premiering at international festivals and is amazing sort of MC Escher / Moebius strip like meditation on reality and illusion, incredibly mysterious and enigmatic and amazing. So we're very excited that we could put out the 5th feature film by Shahram, who is, I think, one of the most amazing and creative filmmakers working anywhere in the world right now. So a lot of stuff upcoming, in other words. I know I keep saying that, but it's true.
This is a plug for J.G. Jones. If you don't know who he is, his current project is called Dust to Dust, and it's being put out by Image Comics. It's about a serial killer in Oklahoma during the Dust Bowl. Fully painted artwork. Just Google image search J.G. Jones Dust to Dust, and it's just astonishing. It's
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
And I will give a plug for an upcoming episode of the podcast, which we just recorded, although it will come out after this, with a group of our incredible artists, illustrators who have contributed to our releases. It shines a spotlight on one of our favorite aspects of our Blu-ray releases, is working with all these incredible talents to create the deluxe slipcovers for our product. So that's going to come out after this, but we just recorded it before this. So we've been talking for a long time, Ryan.
We've been gabbing for over 4 hours.
And your kids are probably like, where is Dad?
If they're not asleep already, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
Or they're in trouble.
And I guess we should also mention, before we wrap up, that we have a nonprofit that people can leave a donation to when they're checking out.
Every month we use the Discord group, set a poll, and have people vote on what nonprofit should get the donation each month.
Yeah.
Last month was PBS, and everyone contributed. We were able to send them almost $1,000.
Amazing! Thank you.
This month is a tiny little theater in Dover, Foxcroft, Maine, that shows art house cinema and old films, and it's one of those theaters that however much we can give to them, we'll make a difference. It's a small little operation in a small little town in northern Maine.
And it's a complete coincidence that Craig is from Maine.
It's not.
It
is not. It is not
saying that he followed the adage about voting in Chicago, vote early and often.
No, this one is not a coincidence. I was actually in Dover, Foxcroft last summer.
Oh boy!
Very cool little town, and I was thrilled to see this small little old tiny theater there.
There we go.
And looked them up, and I was like, oh, they're a 501c3. Like we should send them a donation. So yeah, no, it's not a coincidence. I stumbled upon the theater, and I was like, you know what? It's my home state. We need to send some money there. So, yeah, when you check out, a lot of people are just rounding up. If your thing comes to something at 21 cents, they'll just round up to the next dollar or whatever.
Yeah.
Other people I've looked through some of the orders, and some people have been very generous. I'm like, oh my God, that's just so nice. But yeah, having an art house theater near you shouldn't be the benefit to only people that live in cities. It's keeping these theaters up and running, particularly in areas that are much smaller.
Yeah,
it's really important.
Well, and we've talked about this before, but we are in a really dicey time for arts organizations, for museums, for educational institutions that are under assault from our own government. I didn't know that was the point of the U.S. government, was to go after some of our most beloved institutions. But that's what's happening, and it's really important that people support their local nonprofits because they're being defunded. And the only way for them to survive is through the support of their members, of generous donors. So even though you're buying physical media to watch at home, if you can afford a little donation when you're checking out to these public arts nonprofits, again, I've worked in that field for almost 35 years, and if you get a check for $500 out of the blue, man, that's $500 that goes to payroll. That's $500 that goes to fixing a leaky roof in the bathroom. Every dollar counts. So thank you to everyone who has donated and to anyone who can donate for these really amazing, worthy, plucky nonprofit theaters that are out there keeping cinema alive for the public.
It's been so cool just to see the way people respond to this, and the Deaf Crocodile community really come together. It's been nice to see.
It's been great, Craig. I think this was your idea.
We've got the best
Again,
fans.
one of many great ideas to come from Cat Dad Craig, who did not put his cat down. He set his cat on the floor.
She's sitting in the chair right next to me.
Breathing
still breathing.
I know we could talk a lot longer, but I think we're probably all talked out.
Well, I don't know if I'm overstepping, but I did want to recognize one thing. We are already talking about October pre-orders, which means it's time to probably start thinking about another subscription down payment if you are somebody that likes to subscribe to everything. So in the next couple months, we're likely going to be discussing that, but also memberships always open if that's something that you're into. We're talking behind the scenes about more and more benefits for members and opportunities for you to utilize some of those discounted store credits that you can purchase. So keep that option in your mind because it's always available.
We got a lot of amazing stuff. We haven't even scratched the surface yet. We got a lot of amazing stuff coming out in the first half of 2026, including our biggest box set ever, a 5-film box set, the first of a number that we're working on. And as Craig said, the first 3 months all feature 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo releases among other gems and rarities. So,
and I didn't do the restoration, so I can't take credit for it. But the HDR grade on one of those films is one of the most beautiful. It's a black and white film, and it's stunning. This 4K release is going to put people's hair is going to catch on fire. It's really, really stunning.
And it's really obscure, but we were like, oh my God, they did a 4K scan and restoration off of the original negative.
The original,
we got it. Okay. Normally we kind of weigh okay, is there an audience out there? First of all, do we get the 4K materials, and is there an audience out there to support a combo release? And this, we were like, oh man, we got to do it. It's just so beautiful. It would be a crime not to make it available in 4K UHD.
It's not often you have access to a 4K scan from nitrate negative from the 40s.
So I highly encourage people to subscribe. Make sure that you get all of the deluxe limited editions, which are selling out quicker and quicker. We are starting to up the number that we make, and even as we up the number, they're still selling out quicker and quicker. So,
and we had mentioned Alraune is going to sell out pretty quickly because we intended to up the number and missed the deadline. So, we
will have a standard edition, but if you want the deluxe edition with the booklet and the Dave McKean artwork, buy it early. Buy early, buy often, as they say in voting in Chicago. Vote early, vote often.
Between the subscription discs that go out, the comps that go out, the review copies that go out, and then there is a decent chunk that goes out to wholesale to retailers like Orbit and Diabolic and Odyssey and some of the others. So I think more than half is already gone when it goes on sale. These will go pretty quick.
they are going quicker and quicker. So, and thank you to everyone who is listening and has been supporting us so far. This has been a super exciting 2025, and like I said, we were now scheduling, we're dating things for 2027, like late winter, spring, early summer of 2027, because we have so much stuff, and we keep licensing more stuff because we're like, oh my God, there's this amazing sci-fi film for general workers, so we got to get it. I don't want to tell you what it is, but just mumble. And then we wind up licensing more and more stuff because we're like, we got to put this out. And then it's like, that's not going to come out until 2 years from now. But yeah, we're working to get the stuff out as fast as we can.
Yeah, there's no question. So at some point in 2026, we'll probably have a 3-title release because we just have too much stuff.
Yeah.
There's no titles at all to even mention, but for the first time we have actually reached out to a major American studio inquiring about availability. So who knows if that'll go anywhere, but
we'll see.
You've heard it here first. Deaf Crocodile, the first one with the Disney deal. That's amazing.
I think Criterion already did that with Pixar, didn't they?
Well, they did WALL-E, but that's only because the director approached them and got it done. They still don't have a Disney deal.
Guys, I'm going to have to jump off because my throat will also give out in about 2 seconds. But wonderful, Ryan. Thank you so much for setting these up.
Thank you all. If you are friends with other people that like Deaf Crocodile films, or you want to share the news, we would love it if you shared in other parts of the internet that you listen to the podcast, because there's still many people that have not heard the podcast, and there's plenty of juicy tidbits that we release here every month. So make sure you're sharing the news on that. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you all next month.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-Criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description